The way UFC 321 was presented was quite simple. Turn the page and move away from the shadow of Jon Jones over this haunted division. After more than a year of inactivity, Tom Aspinall was finally coming back, defending the undisputed belt he was rightfully handed, and his opponent was Ciryl Gane. This matchup on paper seemed like an easy fight for Tom, a striker with proven mediocre grappling who had come off a rivalry win over Alexander Volkov. The odds were clearly favored on one side.
These matchups in this division, like, what type of run you can go on?
Yeah, I know.
Be crazy. Bro, you're on the verge of some crazy shit.
I appreciate it. I'm gonna keep doing
working hard, though.
Thanks, bro.
You gotta keep working hard.
Thank you.
But this matchup was much more than that, and Tom Aspinall knew it.
Part of you feel like if you beat him, especially if you beat him in the way you've been beating guys, you won't get the credit deserved for beating someone as good as him.
I don't really care about that kind of thing, to be honest. This guy's really good. He's been around the top five for a long time, former interim champion himself, so I know it's a tough matchup. It's regardless of what anyone else thinks.
Ciryl Gane had nothing to lose. Being gifted this opportunity, public perception was giving him little to no chances. The pressure was completely off his shoulders, and all fell on Tom's. And that pressure was all coming from the Jon Jones comparison.
There's so much pressure on Tom. Not only do you have to beat the #1 contender, but you have to do it more impressively than Jon Jones did. You have to beat him in under 2 minutes and go.
Yeah, the narrative wrote itself. Think of the headline. While Tom battled Gane to a decision, Jon Jones finished him in 120 seconds. Discussion closed. UFC 321's card was pretty mid on paper, but this heavyweight clash was highly anticipated, not only because it was two hyper-talented new generation heavyweight going at it, but because it was supposed to answer questions. Unfortunately though, we were left with even more.
Obviously, not a way we want to see a main event end, any fight end. Give us your reaction to the eye poke and how it all went out.
I mean, I feel the way everybody feels. Looked like we were in for a few rounds and it was going to be a good fight. Great showing, shitty ending, you know?
Thank you to the fighting business, absolutely amazing. One of my favorite new channels going right now.
When Jon Jones officially announced his temporary retirement, the heavyweight division was finally allowed to move on. The interim champion Tom Aspinall was rightfully promoted to undisputed champion, and we could finally put this story behind us. But could we?
Considering that Jones is nearing the end and Ciryl is in his prime, who do you consider the biggest test right now?
Cyryl's the guy I'm fighting, so he's the biggest test right now. Jon Jones is retired, so I don't really have much to say on that, to be honest. So I'm fighting this guy, and this guy's really good, so I'll be as ready as I can be.
In this MMA space, the story is what sells, and the fighters take a while to be completely removed from the conversation, especially a fighter the caliber of Jon Jones. We had been teased, almost edged out by the idea of Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, and now it had slipped through our fingers. We knew why, but the temptation still remained. So when Tom Aspinall was booked for his first official undisputed title defense, the comparison started all over again. Not only because Jon Jones was the former champion, or because we were still salivating at the matchup, but because the opponent Tom was set to face had just recently fought Jones, and got absolutely demolished.
I'm really angry about myself because I spent a lot of time with my partner, my coaches, my family. And I don't have a good reflex during the fight, you see? And so I'm really angry.
This was the best case scenario for Jon Jones. If Ciryl wins, or if Tom struggles even the slightest, Jon Jones and his Glazers would be able to claim a victory by some very accurate and reliable MMA math. That always makes sense, right? But as much as Jon Jones was haunting this pay-per-view, the fight was between Tom Aspinall and Ciryl Gane, two of the new generation heavyweight, two guys who moved exceptionally well, two guys who possessed technical striking, speed, agility, and reflexes. On paper, Tom had the advantage on the ground and in the power department, but this matchup had it all. This fight wasn't only going to get fought physically, but also mentally, and we were here for it. We needed the questions to be answered and the chapter to be closed, and UFC 321 was going to give us exactly that.
There's a lot of pressure on Tom because it's been so long since he's been able to fight again. Obviously, we all know about the struggles and the interim title fight and Jon Jones and all the rest of it. That's all done. That's all in the rearview mirror. Now he gets to go forward and kind of create his own legacy, go down as maybe the greatest champion that the sport's ever seen. But he's got to get through Ciryl Gane first, and you can't overlook that.
You could tell right away, this was different. After we witnessed an absolute stinker just a few fights under with Volkov and Almeida, Gane and Tom were a different kind of heavyweights, and they showed it right away. The movements, the feints, the footwork, the kicks, the speed. I mean, this was the kind of action we would usually see from bantamweights, but here we had two guys weighing together over 500 pounds, jabbing, teeping, and dancing the way around the octagon. And this was different for even more than that. Tom Aspinall had finished his last 3 opponents, all in under 90 seconds, had the shortest average fight time in UFC history at 122 seconds. And so when we passed the halfway point of the first round, we realized we were in for something different. Both Aspinall and Gane were landing, Aspinall with more conviction and commitment, while Gane was getting flowy, peppering Aspinall with his fast jab, low kicks, and evading the danger. We saw blood, a bloody nose, early in the first round, and it wasn't Aspinall who had inflicted it. We were truly in for something special. But 30 seconds before the first round came to an end, Ciryl Gane leaped forward, put his hand out to push off, and accidentally fingered Aspinall's eyes with both fingers in both eyes. Somewhat poetic, right?
What would it take?
Most of us thought that, as usual, it would take a few seconds before we were back to action, but this looked bad right away.
So apparently Tom's saying that he can't see. That's not a good look, pardon the pun.
And Tom was feeling it. He simply just couldn't see. And after a 4.5-minute break, the fight was called off.
No contest!
The long-awaited return of Tom Aspinall ended in a no contest. A matchup that was shaping up to be one of the greatest heavyweight fights of all time was cut short. The questions we were all waiting to be answered remained. But even worse, it created more. Maybe it's us, the fans, or the media who constantly create unreal expectations, but Tom was supposed to make easy work of Gane.
Ciryl Gane, he moves so well, he hits hard, he's really athletic, and he hits from both stances, and man, what a threat. And now I'll give you the analyst, Tom. Boop, okay, he has no chance, he's gonna get guillotined just like he did by Jon Jones, he's gonna get stuffed in the corner and beat to death.
That was the general perception from fight fans, but it didn't look as easy. Ciryl Gane was fighting a great fight before the eye poke, and he found some success early on.
Ciryl Gane, to that point, was fighting a great first round. Granted, Tom was getting his in too, but it was a good first round. It was competitive, and it looked like we were watching the 2 best heavyweights in the world.
We witnessed Tom late in the first round for the first time in a while, and he didn't look as unbeatable as he had looked in the past. His nose was busted up and bloody. He had punched, landed, and Gane was still standing. He was getting tested in real time, but we just never got to see the results. Jon Jones was probably salivating at the screen watching this all unfolds, thinking, if you can't handle Gane's eye poke, imagine mine. Jokes aside though, the narrative is being pushed in real time, and I see it already. Tom's nose was bloody. He was struggling with Gane. Jones made it look way easier. Tom's a quitter. Never compare the two again. This is what I see online from the brain-dead delusional fans, but in reality, the facts are clear. Jon Jones disappeared when Tom arrived, whether it's because he only wants super fights or because he believes that he has no fucking chance. We don't know, but the facts are staring us right in the face. If a guy ducks, bow downs, retires, and disappears when another guy steps in the room, there is no room for debate. Ciryl Gane did great, and the rematch will be even more intriguing now.
I want to see them fight again as early as December, if we can.
But the reality is simple. The reality is that every fight is different. A matchup can be easy for one guy and harder for another.
His back's against the wall. This is when people are the most dangerous. This is the hardest camp that he's ever going to put in.
Tom got poked in the eyes, both eyes, and couldn't see.
Guys, I just poked knuckle deep in the eyeball. What are you booing? What am I supposed to do about it? I didn't do poke. I can't see.
He's not a quitter, not an actor, and it doesn't change the type of fighter that he is. He was simply in a fight where he didn't knock the guy out in seconds. And if that's all it takes to criticize a fighter, that says a lot about him.